Okay, welcome back for my second true story in my life. Similar to the last story, first of all, yes, I realize I'm wearing the same shirt as I was wearing in the last video. Just a coincidence. Um, so, Similar to the last story, it involves an ex girlfriend, and similar to the last story, it involves getting sick, but I was sick for a very different reason. Um, and I'll dive into the story now. This was a different ex girlfriend. This takes place on Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. Um, my ex girlfriend, her name was Emily. She was throwing a birthday party, and there was lots of people there, and she wanted me to propose again. Uh, this because she already had me propose on a on one of her previous birthdays um, in 2022, um, and she wanted a different ring this time, even though I already gave her a ring. But I'll talk about that later. Let's start in chronological order. So yeah, so she lived way out in Longmeadow, Massachusetts. I live in Mashpee, Massachusetts. Um, so this was just a little bit before I started driving out there myself. I wasn't quite ready for such a long road trip on my own yet, so my family came with me, with the exception of my sibling. My mom and dad came with me. My dad drove. Um, so we, my dad, the birthday party was only a few hours long, so my dad wanted to go someplace else earlier in the day, so we went to a petting zoo in somewhere in the Springfield area, and that was fun. Got to pet and feed the animals and whatnot. That was the highlight of the day because everything went to shit after that. Um, on the way when we left the petting zoo and we were on the way to her house, I was starting to not feel so good, and it was just classic nerves, nothing more. Um, this girl made me feel very, very nervous almost every single time I saw her because she was so obsessed with getting married and rings and proposals and wedding arrangements and whatnot. And I hate to say this, I'm just not the get married type. You know, I she wanted to rush into things that I really did not feel comfortable with, and I don't know it it just made me it just made my nerves go crazy. It just made me so nervous and uncomfortable and scared, um and she was very critical too. She was I'm not gonna lie and say she was a terrible person. I've had five ex-girlfriends, and only two of those ex-girlfriends I'd qualify as a terrible person. She wasn't a terrible person, we just weren't compatible. um and so yeah, on the way to the birthday party, I wasn't feeling so good. My nerves were really kicking in. I had some anti-anxiety meds that I should have taken then as a prevention method from things getting worse, but I didn't because I don't know. I just wanted to try to go without them. Um, so we arrived at their birthday party. There was a million people. It was a very hot, crowded, stuffy house. And my anxiety was really picking up. Um, and my girlfriend wanted me to go around showing everyone the ring that she insisted I buy her for her birthday. So I did, and everyone was talking about, oh, when's the wedding? When's the wedding? And I I don't know, just a combination of it was really. I'm autistic, so I don't really do well in large crowds. There was a million people, very crowded, and my senses were getting overloaded, and just the whole wedding talk was really getting my heart racing. Um, and as the party progressed, I just felt like this queasiness getting stronger and stronger, and Then it was time for dinner, and I didn't want to eat it all, but I didn't want to be rude and deny the food they gave me, so I ate it all, and it just made me feel 10 times more nauseous. And then I really just had the strong urge to leave the party. Um, I just really didn't want to be there anymore. Um, and then came dessert, and I could not take one bite of dessert. I just felt so sick. Um, I tried, but I just couldn't do it. Um, and then it was, I don't know, about half an hour later, I told my mom and dad, like, I'm sorry I'm sorry for leaving early, but I got to get out of here. And my girlfriend at the time kept asking me if everything was okay, and I said, "Oh yeah, everything's fine." But no, everything was far from fine. We I was just on the verge of projectile vomiting, and so eventually, my folks and I left the house. I started retching uncontrollably for a few minutes straight. Um, about 2 minutes after we left the house, I did a very good job holding it in while I was at the party, but then I couldn't hold it in anymore. Um, and Then my mom said to my dad, "Let's pull over. He's going to be sick." And I just kept on retching over and over again. And I did vomit one time. And uh, Thankfully, I did not get sick on my clothes because I did not have a change of clothes. And then I got back in the car and I was sweating profusely, heart racing. And my mom thought for sure I was drunk. Um, and she's like, "You're drunk, aren't you?" And I was like, "No, no, it's just you guys don't understand how powerful anxiety can be." Like my dad knew it was good old fashioned anxiety, but my mom thought I was drunk, and I think she texted my ex girlfriend, and she said to her, like, "Did you see Kyle drinking at all?" Because a lot of people were drinking heavily at that party, and so eventually, uh, my mom saw me in so much pain. She was like, "Here, take my anxiety meds." And eventually that did settle me down. And I just like took a nap on the way home. And the next day I was fine. But yeah, anxiety is, it can it can make you really physically ill. Um, and despite her not being a terrible person, I'm just so glad I'm not with her anymore. It was just too much. Just we were not compatible. Um, yeah, so that's my story of me getting violently ill due to anxiety at my ex girlfriend's birthday party. Yeah, so just that's horror story number two. I don't know what my next story is gonna be, but it's something different because I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about me getting sick. Yeah, so that wraps up that story. Hope you got some laughs. Goodbye.